We will call the meeting to order.
All righty then.
And this is an annual joint meeting with the Hicksville Township trustees also. We'll start with a prayer from Pastor Ayers, followed by Pledge of Allegiance and roll call.
Let's pray. Lord, I thank you for today. I thank you for the men and women that serve our village and our county. Lord, I pray that you continue to give them wisdom and guidance to best serve our area. And Lord, we're going to give you all the praise and all the glory. I pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming, everyone. It's nice to see you tonight. May we have a roll call, please?
Baker. Here. Bassett. Here. Jones. Here. Ridgway. Present. Beverly.
Here I go.
Barth.
Here.
Collins.
Yes.
Seedyke. Metz.
I will call the annual joint meeting with the Hicksville Township trustees to order. I guess that's what you do, roll call for, the entire group here.
This here on behalf of the township trustees or your fire contract or cemetery contract
Okay.
and board members. Oh, we have a different. Who do you guys have down? Do you have Zane down or
We have a note that Zane's going off and Josh is coming on.
Josh is the one?
Would someone
That's my time.
like to open the nominations or make a nomination to appoint Josh to that position?
I would make that nomination to put Josh in place. I can see Zane go, but
We have a
are you going
second.
to continue your flag?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Would someone close the nominations then, unless you want to recommend someone else?
I move we close the nominations.
Okay. I don't know if I'm doing this right. 'Cause-
Nobody will notice.
So are you ready for, I always had to go back and look and see what I did the prior year.
Roll call.
Yes, we'll do roll call.
Okay. Ridgway. Yes. Jones.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly.
Okay.
Barth.
Yes.
Baker. Yes. Collins.
Sure.
Seedyke. Metz. Yeah. Should have said sure.
Since we have the whole group together tonight, is there anything else? Do you guys have any questions for council, or council have any questions for the trustees?
You could get even with him now or ask him some questions.
It wouldn't be for the public.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else to discuss during the joint meeting, I guess I would be open to a motion to end the joint meeting.
Make a motion, we end the joint meeting with the township trustees.
Who said that?
There you go. Roll call?
Jones.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Baker. Yes. Barth.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Ridgway. Collins.
Yes.
Seedyke. Metz.
Thank you. Feel free to stay for the rest of the meeting.
How long is that good for?
Till next year. Yep.
You got housework to do, Greg?
Okay, Mary Wan, would you like to step up to the podium and address council?
Isn't it terrible?
Hi, my name is Mary Wan, and I'm here to discuss, this is my 23rd year putting on the Hicksville Townwide Garage Sales. They're going to be Friday, May 31st and June 1st. I have a vendor area of town where the old high school was, and anyway, it's on the corner of Smith and Main Street. I have many vendors coming. And then Friday morning, I will have Hi's Chicken Barbecue coming in at 6, cooking chickens. We'll be selling chicken dinners. All the proceeds will go to the Christmas cruise through. And we'll start selling chicken from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock until sold out. We have many people at their houses having garage sales. They're still calling. It's still early. I think that's it, so.
Well, those garage sales bring a lot of people to town, Mary, and we thank you for organizing that event, and it really is crowded.
If anybody wants in, they can call me or my daughter-in-law, Carrie, Wan, since my health's starting to get bad, so she's helping me. So, okay?
Thank you for all the work you do for that.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Why don't you open the window?
I told you it's hot in here.
Don't you open the window?
I'm making a motion to adjourn.
Oh.
Second.
So we will go on to the April 15th regular council meeting minutes that are in your packet. Are there any additions or corrections?
Make a motion, we approve the April 15th minutes.
Roll call, please.
It's the safety. What? I was talking,
The minutes approval?
yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
You have the bills in your packet. You have one that was mailed out, one that was on the table tonight.
Where did I see bluebird houses? I think I seen bluebird.
I have a question on the Veterans Memorial repairs. I was just curious what happened there. Second page.
Couple of little plaques, one's on the Arthur side, one's on the Bryan side, right at the end of the sidewalk. They both just got split right down the middle.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
I mean, one vandalism, right?
Okay, that's good.
Whatever.
And then, no, wait, see if I get this right. Industrial Drive streetlights, Owens Electric, $3,000.
Oh, no. They had to work on the industrial park sign there at 49. That was just an eye. They did some electrical work down at the sewer plant.
Oh,
For the vast majority of that, I think that eye was like maybe $90. The rest was
Okay.
electrical at the plant.
because I know those lights were just new, but you're talking about the sign itself.
Yeah,
At
the
the
photo
corner.
I gave out.
Okay. And I think this isn't bills, but I read there was some vandalism to the restroom. That goes in the...
I mean, I know there was, but beyond that, I'm not sure.
The new one?
I don't know. It just said North Main vandalism.
This is the new one. Yeah, some kids busted the paper towel dispenser and something else in there. I can't recall exactly what it was, but
Did you catch them?
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Great.
Good job.
You gonna mow the park with a pair of scissors all summer?
Wow. Old dandelions. So how'd you catch them?
They had friends.
Skilled police work.
Camera work.
I just read it in the police news and I didn't...
Yeah, their friends reported it. Said, guess what he just did?
That's not a friend.
What little Val mentioned to me,
Well, he's not my buddy.
what little Val mentioned to me, because we were trying to figure out what kind of holders are in there, it sounds like we're gonna make that part of the restitution when they take the kid to court, or whatever the expenses were. She had to get quotes. But beyond that, I don't know anything about it.
Any other questions about the bills?
Where is the bluebird boxes going? Houses?
The who?
There
The one the park agreed on?
Yeah.
Probably somewhere in the park.
It says
On
right,
their budget.
it says right here, 5. birdhouses by the Boy Scouts, $100.
Yeah, in the park minutes.
No, it's right here.
Later, it says that they approve buying the birdhouses.
They
Yeah.
usually put them on the railroad tracks down there.
Oh, they do? That's kind of
There
cool.
used to be some back there before we time took care of them.
Mayor, if nobody has any questions further, I would move that we pay our bills.
Well, second.
Roll call, please.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Baker. Yes. Barth.
Abstain.
Next, we have a notice of public hearing in the packet. The agenda says the planning commission met April 18th to approve the request for a zoning change from M2 heavy industrial to R4 residential on Oak Street between Railroad and Ogen Streets. And the minutes in the printed are included in the packet, legislation to follow. And then we go on to a notice of public hearing for a meeting to be held May 23rd at 6 PM in the zoning office. The application is asking to change 407 West High Street, lots 255, 254, 33, 34, and part 34, from agricultural/public use/single family to central business/local business/general business. Then we will go on to the park board minutes. They met April 17th. You have the minutes in the packet. I do not see anyone from the park board here. Is there anybody that would like to make any comments or have questions about the park board minutes?
I know I was not able to make that meeting, but I know they're still working on day in the park and getting stuff finalized and still working very hard on that and getting quite a few activities. Should be good for the community overall, so.
Did they look into, like when these light fixtures are going out and they don't have a lift to get up there, replace them, the ballast and bulbs, they ever look at changing them over to LED, you know, as they go out, so they don't have that future expense? Any idea?
I could check with them next time. I mean,
Because they don't have a lift to go up there, so if one bulb goes out, they gotta rent a lift for the whole, you know, just that one fixture, or go around and change them all. It'd be nice if they changed them out to LED, so you get 20 years out of them or so.
agreed.
That's a good idea.
What does a ball diamond, or ball diamond, a dugout need electricity for?
It was the batting cage, right?
Well, they want electricity in
That's
dugouts too.
Oh.
I thought that was.
Well, probably.
Say what, Petey?
Ours are cell phones.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Like, they made them all metal, didn't they? They're probably going to be hotter than hell in there.
They got them all open, then it's been running back.
Do they? I'm going down there when I get out of here, so.
It just seems like a, well, I don't know what it's gonna cost, but it can't be cheap.
Well, a lot of that stuff with the Little League fields are paid for by the league association, so I'm not sure how that's getting paid for. That was at the last meeting, but I know they had, did the Little League, built them on their own, with their own money that they raised. And I see, Larry, you guys are doing the fractional bore, so, right?
I think we're gonna end up crunching there. But then, the pool light, we're gonna direct their electric line to that, because that pole, it's not set deep, and the weight of the aerial is pulling it over, so we're gonna get rid of that and straighten the pole up and area it. So, yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll go on to the cemetery board. Sheila, would you like to say anything about your
No, I think
meeting?
we talked about it last time, but I'll do it again. We did, the spring cleanup went well, and we're getting a price for a dumpster for the summer months, and stone for the driveway might be paid for by the township. We were going to ask, I think he had a meeting that night, he said he was going to ask Josh to. And about getting stone for a false setup.
I'll tell you what.
What is that? I
Yeah,
was just curious.
For, like when they have a funeral and it's all rainy and wet, Instead of going out into the grass where it's all wet, they're going to have it up by that building.
Oh,
I've never heard of it before.
yeah, me neither.
Already do, I just did it on Friday.
Zane, I would donate the stone for that fall setup,
They're probably,
On that board.
but you're going to see them.
We donated, the township donated the stone for the driveway.
driveway.
And I'll donate the stone for the setup, fall setup.
I'll let Josh know that.
Thank you. Okay, going on to the HIX-TV board. Minutes are in the packet. Mike, would you like to say anything about that?
I do.
Would you like
You
to?
were there.
Oh, yeah? I'm tired of talking.
Know it. Like I said, we're trying to update the system to HD, maybe better picture. We're updating, trying to work on the sound within the council room and different things like that. And any meetings or plays or programs that can be brought to you by HIX-TV. I know SMTA, we're trying to get online with them. And I think once we update to HD, it's going to be a better fit for SMTA to have our station under their programming guidelines. So I know Bill's been working with some summer ideas with what they can do with HIX-TV and just moving forward and spending some money, but hopefully the updates will enhance everything.
I don't know if this was in some other minutes, but I understand that since they got a new miking system and stuff for the school board, it sounds great. Much easier to understand. So we're happy about that.
I have a meeting with a representative, one of the MediaCom technicians, here Wednesday at 10 a.m. And we're going to do the first steps towards being able to hook up the new, the equipment right now is set up and formatted for a standard definition camera when we broadcast the council meeting live. We're going to begin the process of figuring out what MediaCom needs to do so that we can hook up the new HD cameras, and then we can use our new cameras here. And aside from that, our request to MediaCom to
Thank you.
upgrade the overall channel to high definition is working its way up the corporate ladder. And I spoke with Mike Dickerson from their Auburn office on Thursday, and he said that it's in front of the people in, I think it was somewhere in like Eau Claire, Wisconsin, or whatever, one of their higher up corporate offices. He's optimistic that they will do it. They want to get away from SD and standard definition completely and do high definition, but it will require them purchasing new equipment and so forth to be able to do that. So it's working its way up their corporate chain. So Mike can't give me any kind of a realistic estimate as to how long it might take them to decide what they want to do, but it does sound like the wheels are in motion. And we've begun looking at switching over our controller to a high definition one. There's one I'm looking at that has both a high definition and a standard definition output. So if we hook that up, if we needed to, we could stay standard definition on MediaCom, but still have a high definition hookup like SMTA wants. So a lot of stuff, hopefully be able to get some more firm answers for everybody, because we're kind of in a holding pattern right now, but I'm kind of hopeful in the next 2 to 3 months we'll be able to see some real progress overall. So.
And I just remind everybody that you can watch the council meetings and other events on YouTube if you don't have MediaCom. So.
And volunteers, we're always looking for new volunteers. If you're home, you're bored, you're retired, you want something to do, we're asking for people to come and maybe help do some programming and help with the station, and it looks like a lot of fun. So, but if you want to do that, get a hold of Bill or me or Diane, and we can get you set up.
I could use somebody who might be willing to help videotape some of the summer concerts coming
Yeah,
up.
that'd be great.
That would be great, yeah. Thank you. So then on the agenda, we have Zoning Board of Appeals met May 1st. The purpose of the meeting was to discuss an application for a setback variance. It was submitted by Justin Kuhn. The application is a request to change the setback on a side yard from 50 foot to 40 foot for construction of a building located at 967 East High. That motion passed. We will go on to council committee reports. We have one in your packet from the Street Light and Property. Eric, would you like to talk about that at all?
Yeah, just real brief, we just kind of took a walk through of our city hall here down in the basement, walked around the exterior of the building, looking for upgrades and see what all, I guess, disrepair the building's in. The basement takes on some water at times, and they're mopping up a lot of water, worried about mold and everything else, so kind of looked at that, and also the outside of the building, Kenton already has some contracts that didn't get finished last year, fill in some cracks and painting the south and east sides, and we're still going to continue with that work, getting finished up this year.
Do you happen to know where we stand with getting the sidewalks done this year for those people who did not get them done?
I do not. I have not talked with Mike Bailey at all on that.
Maybe your committee could talk to Mike and see how we're going to proceed with that. I've got some residents asking, you know, we fixed our sidewalks, when are they going to fix theirs, type of thing. We'll see how that goes.
Yep.
Any other questions for that committee? All right, then we're going to, you had minutes on the table tonight from the Water, Sewer, and Refuse Committee. Do you have any?
Now we just addressed with Eric after the last council meeting about they had a high water reader at the house and building next to their facility there. Like a maiden, they're actually tearing that house and building down there in the process of dismantling them from the inside, and then they'll tear them down here real soon. So.
Okay. We will go into the administrator's report.
Well, the first one came from there, that Joint Solid Waste Management District notice. It's basically they're just deciding where you can take trash to, and they listed the 20 places they recommended trash can go in our district. Beyond that, I can't tell you anything else. And then the next part. I'll apologize up front, this is going to take a while, but I'm going to read it word for word. Simply because of some misinformation that's getting posted out on social media. One very happy camper last week, still not very happy camper today, but anyway. These might not be in the order they are in the front, I'll just go in the order they're on my report. First one concerns the lead in our water system. And first off, we were not cited, we weren't fined for dangerous levels of lead in our water system. If our water supply was testing high on lead, we'd have the EPA all over us, kind of like Flint. But anyway, in February, we received a letter saying the lead level reported from sampling was higher than usual, but was still well within the limits. Now, per the EPA requirements, we sample a total of 20 locations for lead. We've done that for years. And in the past, only one home sampled was known to have lead in their plumbing. By law, the homes that are known to contain lead in their interior plumbing need to be one of those 20 sampled. Now, this year, back in the fall, when sampling was done, an extra home, which has been on the list for 20 years, never showed any sign of lead before, but they showed up with a lead level, and that's what prompted the letter we received. The house in the past, and that's not part of my write-up, it's in there year after year after year, you never hear about it. Not a big deal, but since the second one popped up, they sent us the letter. And there again, it's not a citation, not a violation. The limit's still well below the acceptable level. They were just telling us might need to keep an eye on that. The homeowners we use are all volunteers, except for that first one mentioned where we know they've got lead. They don't get a choice. But these volunteers take the samples, we pick them up. The owners also then get the results of their sample. So this second owner that showed up on the radar should have seen that, gee, there's something on there about lead in my plumbing. Why it never registered before, we don't know. There's some variables when it comes to the sampling that could have affected that. Like I said, I won't go into all those details. But the problem is not the town's water supply. I asked the lady Friday from the EPA, I said, can you just verify pretty simply what that was? I might not have brought her letter, but she goes, you weren't cited for anything. Townwide water doesn't have high levels of lead, don't have much lead at all. It's these individual homes that we're responsible for whatever reason. See, that's why we got the notice. Now, we can add chemicals to combat the corrosive effect of lead in these 1 or 2 houses, but that means you're going to have to make modifications to the water plant and go through all that stuff. And I guarantee if we start adding a chemical to the system, then you're going to have people claiming we're causing cancer from that, or some other illness. Right now, all we add to our system is chlorine. Now, the next lead sampling is going to be done in the fall, because that's when it happens every year. We'll find out if this extra house is still showing levels of lead or if it was just a glitch. And I guess just for the person that's putting all this information out there, I mean, it's on there that evidently every illness known to man's our fault. I mean, I've heard that for years. Cancer, you name it's from our water supply. Well, my wife drinks it, kids drink it, grandkids drink it. If I thought there was something harmful in there, I wouldn't be letting my family drink it. All of our sampling for all these years has come back fine. So anyway, there's no lead in our water. Things aren't being mismanaged, we're not being fined. It's these individual residences' plumbing that have the lead issues. And then, I guess before moving on with that, these 20 homes, some people upgrade from plastic, or from copper to plastic. So our list of names are starting to run maybe a little short. So if anybody wants to be part of the special sampling, you have to have copper plumbing or lead plumbing. I mean, hopefully people don't have lead, but if you do, we need to be testing you. But if anybody wants to be part of this voluntary effort, let us know. And it's got to be residents, it can't be a business or an apartment complex, but you have to have copper plumbing. The sewer violation. Another thing that got blown out of proportion. And anyway, if you remember a month ago on the April 1st council meeting, I gave you all a heads up that this was going to happen. So the comment on the social media about hiding things, well, sorry, you knew about it a month ago. But anyway, special sampling took place back on April 2nd, during a heavy rain event, and the effluent coming out of our pipe had a high level of bad stuff. Now, I told you on Monday night, April 1st, that we're going to get that letter, because Andy did his inspection on April 1st. He noticed the looks of the effluent coming out of there, gave us a heads up, even before they took the sample. Now, at the time, Jeff had 2 choices as far as bypassing a few more million gallons of untreated sewage straight into the ditch, or trying to run more through the plant to at least try to treat it a bit. He went with that second approach. I don't have a problem with it. I don't call that operator error. But of course, what they sampled coming out of the tube had more bad stuff in it. Jeff's responded to Andy. He's got the plant adjusted to where next time it's in storm mode, we'll basically bypass everything. I think it's dumb, but if the EPA would rather see us bypass raw sewage and try to treat every bit we can, so be it. But anyway, there was no fine. We weren't hiding anything. Like I said, I told you about it a month ago before they even sampled, so I don't know how you get much more timely than that. They'll be coming tomorrow for a second set of the special sampling. We should be in good shape. The E. coli numbers from last week, after getting the UV system set up, are well below the limit. So it's just one of those, it's, in my opinion, it's a dumb rule. It makes it look like we're discharging raw sewage from the plant. So we'll cut that out, and we'll just discharge it straight out of the tube. So if you got any questions, you can ask Jeff. But there was no mismanagement. It was just, I would have rather tried to treat as much as possible to at least try to help, but Evidently, that was the wrong decision. And then in general, we're not paying millions of dollars of fines for anything at either plant. I don't know before I ever was involved if the village ever got fined. I don't know. So yeah, we've had some hiccups over the years as far as every now and then there'll be a violation for something. But I guess until humans are perfect and machines run perfect, there's always going to be a risk of errors. We don't get cited very often because you guys don't get very many letters from the EPA. Now, a couple of these other ones we're going to talk about weren't letters to the mayor and council because they weren't that important, if that's how you want to phrase it. The big stuff you get. The only time I can remember we were going to get close to getting the fine was when we were still operating with the old sewer plant. That's what led to the new one getting built. But to update the public on where we are spending millions of dollars, that's in
Who's
the...
broadcasting all these false accusations?
I'm not going to name names, it's just on Facebook, so... I was made aware of it.
Is it a group or a person or?
I don't Facebook at all. I was told a person posted these letters from the EPA, which are public records, and it's fine, but you have to know what you're reading before you start accusing everybody of, but be that as it may.
Insinuating.
Just to update the public on why we are spending millions, it's the elimination of the combined sewer overflows. And this goes 6-7 years back with our new long-term control plan. The EPA is requiring us to get down to 4 events per year per CSO. Now, right now, we have 2 CSOs which are triggering events. The other 3 we've pretty much eliminated. But the two that are left are at the head of the plant, then the one just south of the head of the plant. Normal day, the plant can treat 1 to 2.5 million gallons a day, before things start to fall apart. But to show people what we're trying to deal with, the water plant pumps between 250 to 300,000 gallons a day per day, year-round. Even in drought times, the sewer plant still can treat up to 800,000 gallons a day.
It is treating up to 800,000 gallons a day.
So somewhere, we're getting a ton of water into our system. And then during a rain event, and it doesn't take much rain to do this, if we treat 1 to 2 million, pushing 3, might be okay. But we're bypassing upwards of 20 million gallons or more of untreated water through those CSOs. Now people say, well, why can't you handle that? Well, I've used this example for years. Little kids seem to understand it, so hopefully some people out in the public can. I've explained it to my grandkids. They said, well, yeah, they understand. You can't put 10 gallons of water in a 1-quart container. Okay? The sewer plant's a quart. You can't run 10 gallons through it. So we bypass the other however many gallons. So that's why we're spending millions of dollars. Here again, it's not because anybody's mismanaged anything. We've completed phase 1. We're in the middle of design work for some of the phase 2 projects, and that work will start next year, 2020. And then once that's done, we've got a phase 3 to look forward to, unless we solve the problem with phase 2 projects. And the last thing, I guess, well, not last thing, but just to save another Facebook issue, there's another letter you got from the EPA about the capability screening we had with the OEPA. How this can be taken as any kind of problem is beyond me, but I don't understand a lot of things. This was just a meeting we had in February with them. It was connected with that asset management project we're going through along with the GIS. So they came down just to get a feel for where things were at. They sent a letter showing, and they used words like deficiency and whatever. I wish they wouldn't. We're not getting cited for anything, not getting fined for anything. There's nothing to, be that as it may. There's 8 points. 2 of them the water department can handle alone. All but item number 3 that's council related, and I'll come back to that one. The rest are waiting for RCAP to finish up the asset management and GIS stuff. So Jesse's gonna have to get some information from them so that she can respond by June 19th, showing some timelines and whatever. So again, we didn't get fined, there's no violations, no public health issues. The only people that one might get mad's council, because in order to get funding from here on out, you folks have to do that number 3. Not all water committee members have attended training pertinent to the water system, and that includes sewer, and utility management. So everybody's got to take one of those, and then a refresher at least every 5 years if you end up on a committee for more than 5 years. So I guess at some point, water sewer people are going to have to take a few hours worth of webinars or go to a class, whatever.
You can't take them online?
Yes.
Yeah. But they've got that tied now in with this asset management. If the governing body, or however they phrased it, doesn't do this, they're not going to give you any money. So it's one of those, you can't send Cheryl. You're, you know.
How about you? Jeff?
What's the time window on it?
They didn't really give one, but I'd say the sooner the better.
Well, I talked to Jessie. She said when EPA comes back and does their evaluation for the plants, as long as we've taken some of the classes and showed certificate of participation, she's got to put that in her file. So when they do update or go through everything, then
Yeah, I would say get it done by fall.
Oh, I was thinking here shortly.
I would say
Well, that'd be
shortly
even-
would be nice.
That'd be even better, but
Yes.
Where do you go?
Can somebody give me a website Cheryl can take care of? Okay.
that I asked Jessie to send.
Get your list marked up, so.
Right.
yeah, and if you go on RCAP's website, they have webinars and all that. Because, they've had some in Defiance before, but a lot of them have passed the state different places. But if you want to do a webinar, I don't care. And then the last two things, most people have questions on the other. The mowing grass into the street and the weed ordinance. You guys did pass an ordinance last year changing the height of the weeds from 8 to 6, but you did not include anything about mowing grass into the street. And like I mentioned there, it just got brought up that some thought something had been passed, but there was nothing.
I thought we did too.
I
talked
do.
to Kent and we didn't.
There's no ordinance.
You brought it up.
I know we talked about it, but according to Kent, we never passed anything.
Well, not according to me, according to Sheriff's ordinance record.
We did pass something,
Well, we just passed
but
it.
it wasn't related to the clippings, it was the height.
Yeah, you passed a revised weed.
And the number of days.
And the number of days, yeah, that's what I specifically, I remember the discussion about it, but I remember the ordinance was those
What
things.
committee was that?
Well, I think we determined nothing was going to be done about it anyways.
Well,
Should get together again.
that's what I thought. Town looks horrible.
Yes.
All those people that got out and mowed, but
Because we
that's
can
just
talk
me.
about a safety issue, guys on motorcycles driving through the grass.
But anyway, my thoughts on that, if you do pass one, it's gonna be enforcement. Mike and I can't write a ticket. PD can. So depends on what code you put it in.
We
And,
usually have to see them doing it.
well, and that's something you have to work out, because if it's a renter mowing for a property owner, who gets cited?
Right.
If it's after the fact, you saw they baled hay, but
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there'd be stuff like it you'd have to work out to make it hole-proof.
Pretty much ought to just be the property owner.
Yeah.
Now, then you're gonna have that landlord issue like we do with water sewer.
Very few tenants mow.
But anyway, you'd have to figure out,
Good.
that's, I'm pawning it off on the police. If Mike cites them, we're never gonna get paid. They'll end up being assessed and we'll get it in 2 years. Police write them a ticket, they're gonna see the mayor. You can't run away from a ticket. Well, you can, but you're not gonna get, but anyway, I don't care. That's something you guys work out if you're
I
gonna
leave
do it.
town for a mowing grass into the street ticket. It's time for them to go anyhow.
But anyway.
Pretty much.
Then lastly, we come back to City Hall. The work they're gonna be doing on the building, they might be here in a week or two. And I know this will be like starting another civil war, that it's just horrible that I gotta close this alley. But they're not gonna be able to work on this alley without getting run over if I don't close it. So for a few days, people might just have to drive around the block and come up the other way. I know you'll hear about it. There'll be some business owners claiming working for their delivery trucks, whatever. But sorry, we've been inconvenienced by work other people have done. They can put up with us for a few days working on a building. So people see it coned off or whatever someday, they'll know it's coming.
Thank you, Ken.
I'm done.
Does anyone have any other questions?
You sure? I've got a question on the lead. What happens when you replace a water main and you hook up a new water meter and you find lead going to the house? Can you do anything about it?
It's a free country.
Okay, I was just curious.
Tell you from my point, it happened to me, they changed my meter and I had lead going in my house and I didn't. They shut me off because they said they could not hook the lead line back up.
The contractor. I was just curious.
I know the city did it, but they wouldn't hook my water line up because they said they couldn't hook a lead line back up. So
Yeah,
I ended up burying it myself, putting a new line in.
Yeah, we can't reconnect to lead, but the day the EPA was here, I asked that woman, I said, why is this our problem if, and I'll just use my house, let's say I'm the one getting high lead results. That later makes it sound like 90% of our water supplies got lead. That's what people aren't understanding. I said, why is that the town's fault if I want to have lead in my house? I'm willing to take the chance of getting lead poisoning. Nope, that's just the way it is. We're responsible for those numbers. I can't go in and order anybody to change their plumbing. This is still America.
Well, if that person's so concerned about it, you think they would do it.
Well, that's the next thing. If they don't care.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if say in the fall, if our numbers, let's say it goes over that limit, 16 is the magic number, we're at 8 now. Let's just say we hit 17. You're gonna get a nasty letter saying we're in violation or our water's corrosive. Well, then we're gonna have to do something to the plant, costing umpteen hundreds, thousands of dollars, whatever, because of people with their personal plumbing. But their letter to us was they want us to be proactive and come up with a way of preventing that from happening.
But when you did yours, you were aware, before that, you had no idea it was lead, correct?
No, because there was a splice in my crawl space. I had no idea.
You had no clue.
Because I had copper in the house.
Right, and neither do I.
My crawl space to the meter, and I didn't realize until they replaced my meter.
Sure. But you had that option then, once you found out, hey, this is a lead line, you decided to change it.
No, I didn't have an option because they wouldn't hook my line.
But see, what people need to understand is, we don't have lead in our water.
Right.
It's
It's
lateral.
only from this interior plumbing.
Their pipes, yeah.
And we're on the hook for that. It makes absolutely no sense. I can't go to Troy's house tomorrow and say, I want to look at your plumbing. He tell me to go suck eggs.
We could tell what, I'm sure that Troy could probably tell us where 99% of the lead services are. I used to know where 4 or 5 of them were just from digging up sewers.
See, and then once we would know, let's say I found out tomorrow, you, and you all have lead services. You're going to be on this list of 20. And you're going to kill our numbers. Because odds are you're going to come back with levels of lead. So we're dependent on people being honest with us. And I would think I'd want to know if I had lead. I mean, I could check my
meter pit
plumbing.
and tell if they got lead or not. You can look in the meter pit and tell if they got lead or not.
Not on their interior plumbing. This one house in question is copper from the pit to...
Oh, they're still running it in their service.
Yes, their
inside.
interior plumbing. Now, some people might still have lead lines.
I know where there's some lead service lines.
Well, but anyway, so that's why there's this whole canoe about lead and copper. It's individuals. If we find out about it, then we have to take measures to try to eliminate those numbers from our system. Which means we can't treat for lead at the plant. So that means you gotta put in that phosphate or that silicate. And if we put phosphate in, then Jeff's gonna be up here yelling, because he fights phosphate numbers now, so you'd have to spend money at the sewer plant to get what we put in the correct quote lead in our water supply.
Which we don't have.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those, it's aggravating, and it's been compounded by what gets put out on social media, scaring people.
What I've learned sitting on these committees all these years, and you guys have listened to them and been on committees, I mean, we have a really good clean source of water.
Yeah.
Where our wells pipe into. We've been fortunate. There's lots of communities out there that are struggling with a good water supply and things of that nature. And we have been regulated. That's the EPA's job, is to look, survey, check, make sure we're doing it properly. And they do it to every community, every service, water and sanitary around, and that's their job. So when things are, they just send us letters like this, and we have to take a look at them. Like I said, I think we're fortunate to have the utility departments we have, and you guys keep track of things and watch them and address them when they are red flagged or numbers are off. But we want to be transparent to everybody. Anybody ever has any questions, please come and ask. I mean, Jeff will walk you through the plan anytime. Jesse just did a walkthrough with the Chamber of Commerce, and it was well attended, and a lot of good information was passed along. And we want them to let people know what there is to offer and how we can bring it to them. So
Instead of putting it on Facebook, it tells a little story about you when you go and put it there instead of bringing it right to Kent or Jeff.
Whenever there's a sampling violation, it always goes to mayor and council, besides to me and the plant operator. So anyway.
I wish you'd tell who it was.
I'm not name a name.
Okay, thank you, Kent. Any other questions from Kent or comments? All right, we will go on.
Mayor?
Yes.
At this time, I would like to ask for an executive session to discuss possible land purchase.
Which needs done before we get to my stuff.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's doing it now. I asked him to.
Okay.
So,
Somebody second me.
second that.
In the public knowledge. That's the dream.
well, there might be some details.
Well, no,
Call, please.
whatever.
Baker?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Okay, folks, we will just go out on the front porch and get some fresh air, and we'll call you back in as soon as we get this topic taken care of, I guess.
Won't take long, kids.
Let's make it.
Return to regular session. We'll go on with, yes, we'll have you, Troy.
It's like being in school. First thing I have is ordinance 2019-03, first reading by caption only, and ordinance authorizing the village fiscal officer to transfer funds. Ordinance 2019-04, a first reading by caption only, and ordinance to amend the annual appropriations ordinance. It looks like you need this right away.
I move we suspend the rules.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Baker?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
Beverly? Barth?
Yes.
Second and third readings of ordinance 2019-04, and ordinance to amend the annual appropriations ordinance.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Roll call whenever you're ready.
Jones?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Second reading of Resolution 2019-04, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the Village of Hicksville to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement and/or local transportation improvement programs and to execute contracts as required. First reading of Resolution 2019-05, a resolution of the Village of Hicksville, Ohio, directing the Defiance County Auditor to assess and enter the delinquent water and sewer bills on the tax duplicate of the properties described in Exhibit A. And then Resolution 2019-06, a first reading by caption only, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the Village of Hicksville to enter into a contingent real estate purchase contract for the acquisition of 82 acres, more or less, in the Village of Hicksville and Section 17 of Hicksville Township for use as a new well field for the benefit of the village and declaring an emergency.
Motion to suspend.
Second.
Roll call.
Baker?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
So second, third readings of Resolution 2019-06, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the Village of Hicksville to enter into a contingent real estate purchase contract for the acquisition of 82 acres, more or less, in the Village of Hicksville and Section 17 of Hicksville Township for use as a new well field for the benefit of the village and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ridgway?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Baker?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay. We'll go on to the department heads. Sergeant Doctor, are you here in place of the chief?
Yes, the chief is at training this week.
Do you have anything you'd like to report at the podium?
See, you're healed up now.
The walking boot.
Yeah. Kind of nice.
Does anybody have any questions?
I talked to him about the fires before the meeting,
Oh,
so,
did you get the answers you needed?
no.
Okay.
He's going to look into it.
Okay, maybe I'll ask Scott when he gets up there. Fire Chief Kramer.
The only thing I have tonight is this Wednesday at 6:30 PM at the Lutheran Church in Defiance. They're having a countywide blessing of the badges. We'll probably be taking the truck down, part of the ladder truck, and hang the flag from it. And as many firemen and EMTs as we can get to go, we'd like to go. Now, you have a question for me?
I do. I guess I would like you to explain to me when a resident calls in, and I'll just say to the non-emergency number, at Defiance about open burning. And is it necessary for fire truck, EMS, police, and all those people to show up?
It depends how it's presented at the 911 center.
Okay. So if someone wants to call in and report open burning of grasses and that kind of stuff that's causing smoke around the neighborhood, what exactly should they say so that they don't have all the emergency personnel show up at their house?
If they could just have a police officer come down and look into it, and then if we're needed, the police would call us. If they called in as a fire, the 911 center is going to tone it out as a grass fire.
Okay, I think that's what people want to know, is just a police officer is who you should ask for to look at an open burn so that all the resources, emergency resources from the village don't come
Right.
to a house to put out a fire.
Right.
Does that answer your question, Jim? Yep. All right.
Because if the 911 center tones it out as a fire, we're going to respond.
Yeah, you have no idea.
And I do have a list of the trucks we take out on different fires, if you'd like a copy of it.
Well, I know what people told me was there. But I would just like to remind the residents that we're getting complaints about open burning already. It's in their opinion, not clean firewood when it's smoking up the entire neighborhood with grass clippings. So, I guess,
After these asked some questions saying, well, they just had a campfire or was there a garage on fire?
well, I would think that common sense would tell them to do that, but I don't know what the 911 center is told. So, if you want to report open burning, questionable fire in Hicksville, call the non-emergency number and ask for the police department to go look at it first.
Right.
All right,
And if they call 911 and they say there's a fire, they're going to tone it out as a fire. And
okay.
however, the 911 center dispatches this determines what trucks we take to what.
Okay,
And we try to minimize the amount of trucks that go on different runs, so we don't have every truck we have on the street.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Bob?
Yeah, go ahead.
That one at Butler and Smith, that they sent everybody down there, that was called in as a people burning in their yard. And then the dispatch toned out the fire department. So they were being a little bit overactive, I think.
The 911
Yes,
center.
yes.
Well, that is one of the ones that I got had a very angry conversation about.
'Cause I listened to that.
Several of them.
And there's been others.
Was that the one on the north side of the road?
The condos.
Yes. No, not the condos.
Somebody's just burning a little bit of debris, I think.
Oh, 'cause we had one recently where the lady threw a railroad tie in the fire and she couldn't get it out. So we asked the fire department to come and help her.
Oh, my God.
We just couldn't.
Well, if that happened, could they take the grass truck and say, for example,
Well, that's
instead
what
of,
they
We
did.
take the grass truck and the engine. There's two pieces of apparatus that all that goes.
because you don't know what you're getting
Because we
into
don't
if
know.
they say a railroad
Because we've
tie.
had times where we've got called for grass fire, next thing you know, it's into the garage.
We had car fires.
We had car fires where they neglect to tell us it's parked in the garage. And a fire doubles in size every 30 seconds. Within 3 minutes, an entire room will be engulfed. If our response time from the time of page till we get on the station and get going to the scene, it averages, just off the top of my head, I haven't looked at it, probably around 3 to 5 minutes.
Well, that's definitely a helpful
So-
explanation for why you would bring,
And if Bruce or I get on scene and we know we don't need the other apparatuses, we will radio them and tell them, stand by at the station and just wait.
Yeah, you said the word fire, so we have to send him. And he did. So,
and it was trash.
and, yeah, it was grass clippings and water bottles. But,
What's wrong with that?
yeah.
Well, thank you for explaining that to
Anything
us.
else?
So, thank you.
Thank you.
And no one's here from the park, so we will not expect a park report tonight. Moving on, we have the fiscal officer's report.
You have in front of you the income tax collections for April, utility collections, mayor's court collections, MediaCom franchise fees. It's for the first quarter of 2019. And you also have an estimate from Aaron Enterprises to replace the servers at PD and here. They're both way beyond their life. Here it's 11 years old, and it goes out, it went out 3 times last week, and we have to, you can't do anything, you can't do any work without
Right.
a server. So on one side is the one that's the least expensive, our servers that are partially solid state, and the one that's the least expensive, it's only $2,000 more, but it's totally solid state. Now, if you want me to explain what that is, I don't have a clue. But anyway, total solid state means there are no fans, nothing gets hot, and so anyway, that's all I know. And if you need any more, Bob will come and explain the technical stuff to you.
I assume that this will be your decision.
Does anyone have any, I mean, for $2,000 to get And also, I do know that the one that's least expensive has a 5-year plan, and the other one's 8.
24/7
First
service.
contract, yeah, 24/7 for everything. And so you do get longer.
And has this money been found in your budget?
The police department already had 10,000 in theirs. We didn't have any in ours, but we weren't expecting it to start breaking down until next year. So I can't take some of his money.
Just won't pave a road, I guess.
Here we go.
But it's it can be spread out over the departments because the server here serves the whole village.
You plan on doing the 5-year service contract then too on top of that?
That's included in the price.
Oh, that's it.
And if we get the total solid state on the other side, it has 8 years instead of 5.
And you checked other prices on this too, they compared what, Bob's always done as well, I think Bob's the main person we've had.
Yeah, these are both from him.
Yeah.
And that, because the servers have to be built to your specifications, they're not off the shelf.
And tell them how long that's expected to take?
It's going to take, once we get it ordered, then they have to build it, and then it has to sit for 30 days just running to make sure there's no glitches, and then Bob can come and install it, so it's going to be a couple months. So I just want to let you know that.
Hopefully we can baby ours along until then.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a choice, though. Don's pretty good at getting it going again.
Did you have a question, Ron?
So we don't need to vote on this, just do it.
No, I just wanted to give you the information that this is what, I don't have a choice.
What do we see it in the bills?
Yeah, we'll forget by then,
I
though.
think it's a good one, I would say, while you're doing it, my opinion.
Thanks for giving us a heads up.
And
Anything
that's all I
else?
have.
All right. Well, I guess we'll go to the mayor's report, and you can see in your packet that you have a letter dated April 15th from the Humane Society. They did 65 public neuters on Neuter Day, which was April 12th, and 11% were from Hicksville.
And that was cats only. I called to see if that was just how it was. So it was, she said it was.
If they'd happen to swing through town, just cruising for something to do, they might want to check down there on Elm Street.
Well, I'm not used volunteering for a neuter.
I think I heard a cat you talk about made its way over to the
Maybe they're kids, but not the group. They're still over my place.
Okay. So Cheryl put in your packet that there's some public record information that you should be aware of related to text messaging, and
I think, I looked at that, I think that's been an issue for a while, is it's so common, especially in smaller villages and cities, for people to use their personal cell phones for mixed business, you get a I get stuff on my personal cell phone all the time from the police department and council people and stuff. And technically, under the definitions, even though it's your personal cell phone, that constitutes a public record. And if somebody wants to make a request, be part of what have to be turned over. Now, your personal stuff doesn't become public just because you've got a mixed phone, but anything that's got a public nature to it or whatever would become a public record on your personal phone, iPad, whatever.
okay. Going on, this is related to the Community Development Block Grant Downtown Funding. You might recall that I had a meeting with Paul out of Pogemeyer Design Group to explain to the downtown business people what might possibly be available for downtown projects which would abate slum and blighted areas and help with the integrity of the building. And it seems that the guidelines have now been set up Paulette's going to come on Tuesday, May 21st at 6 o'clock here in the council room to explain to any business owners downtown how maybe they can take advantage of this grant. The maximum award is $250,000. Up to 3 buildings may participate in a single grant. No grant ceiling floor per building. Grant funds may be used for soft cost and administration. And the biggie, really big, is no matching funds are required, which was not discussed last time we had a meeting. And the last point is funds may be used for facade and structural code items alleviating public health, safety conditions, or preserving historic building elements. So that's here Tuesday, May 21st for downtown CDBG. Yep.
Should have had that for the old tip top.
Yep. And I just wanted to put a plug in. There is an event coming up June 4th through the 8th. And some of the events are taking place in Hicksville and some are taking place at Augalese Village in Defiance. It's called Ohio Chautauqua 2019 Modern Legends, and it's supported by the Ohio Humanities group. This is evidently a pretty big deal, but there will be professional actors impersonating famous people, I guess that's my words, on, I think maybe June 7th is Friday, June 7th. Robert Kennedy will be impersonated at Johnson Memorial Library. Julia Child will be in the afternoon. And then on Saturday at 1 o'clock, Irma Bombeck will be impersonated. I guess this is a really big deal. So I just wanted to tell you, and then in the evenings, I'll have you go down to Augalese Village under a big tent, and you'll hear more performers. If I may not be explaining that very well, but. And then I just wanted to bring up, have we gotten anywhere with the information for making council seats nonpartisan?
I just passed along everything that, whenever that came up, and we had emails with Tanya I gave the full research of what would have to be done. It has to be by petition from village residents, and there's a time frame on when it's got to be done, and as it pertains to the election, I don't recall it exactly off the top of my head, but there's a process. And the reason, as I recall, the reason that the village elections are partisan and some places smaller, like maybe like May or someplace like that, I can't remember what the example was, are nonpartisan is because at the point they instituted the nonpartisan election, there was like a population cutoff, and if you were over a certain population, you were defaulted to partisan, or continued to be partisan, and if you were under a certain population, you defaulted to nonpartisan elections. And then the revised code sets forth the ways that you can, depending on which one you are, if you want to change to the other one, there is a procedure to do it both ways, to make them partisan or nonpartisan. In our case, there's a percentage of the last number of people who voted, you know how they do those things on whenever you're trying to get something on the ballot, you got to have like 10 or 20% of the people that voted in the last election, general election, have to sign a petition requesting that it be put on the ballot, and again, there's time frames tied to when the election is. It's got to be done so long in advance of the election. And then you go to the polls, and the citizens of the village would vote on, say, for example, do you want to have nonpartisan elections in the future? And if they voted yes, then it talks about the time frame of when that would start and go forward.
Oh.
So it's nothing that the people around here could, other than the people that are citizens here, they could go and get the signatures that were needed in order to get it on the ballot, but it's not like we could make a motion and say we want to go to that.
Okay, I apologize, you might have explained that while I was on vacation then.
I think I sent an email back. I sent a couple emails, maybe it was to Cheryl. It was with Tanya when there was a question about, what happens if Ron gets elected and how that seat gets filled, and then it came up was the nonpartisan partisan election, and I emailed and quoted from the revised code some, so I can look, see if I still have it and can forward it.
Because like the school board, it's not partisan at all. Right.
And that's under a different,
Yeah.
a different situation. We're talking about municipal
So
elections.
you wouldn't have a primary then, right?
Right. Right.
And it came up that would save us money if we didn't have to have a primary sometimes.
Right.
So
And in
anyway,
local elections, a lot of times, I guess a lot of people think, politics play less in a local election than, or it should play less, in my opinion, in a local election than it does, say, in a national election where you got platforms and whatever. I mean, here, you know the people, you get to know them and what they stand for and what they're going to vote for them. Doesn't matter whether they got a letter behind their name or not, shouldn't, I guess.
okay, the next item, I guess, Troy, I've asked you to look into the Haynes Trucking situation. They've never fulfilled their agreement
Right.
for getting free land.
Right?
So what can we do about that?
Under the terms of the contract, we can declare that they're in default of the contract and sue them and try to recover the land from them. I mean, that's the short answer to that. It's obviously not that easy. We'd have to get into their records, and I don't know, obviously they're well under because they were supposed to have a certain number of jobs within a certain time frame and
In a building.
and a building, and I don't know, I know they got a platform out there or whatever, but I don't think they have people here anymore. Do they even have trucks coming through town or anything?
I did see one today.
That's what he already has, he has one.
One. So, we could start that process or whatever and say, hey, you didn't live up to your end of the bargain,
He told me a couple of years ago, he said, anytime you want your money back, he says, I'll pay you money back. He says, he said, I don't need it, but.
Right, because we could get the money from him, but he's still got to be.
I guess I would like to hear what council's thoughts are on this, if we're just going to let this ride, or if we're going to do something about the fact that his contract has not been fulfilled.
Well, we could make the demand upon him. That would be one. There's really three options. We could sue him and try and get the land back. That would be one. That'd be the most severe. We could do nothing and just keep taking it. I assume he's paying the money on a monthly basis. Or we could say you're in default and accelerate what he owes and say we want it all paid now. And he told me the same thing, I think, at one time, and maybe he'd just pay it off and be done with it. But he'd still own that piece of land out there and could do with it what he wanted to. So, those would really be the three options.
I think we ought to get the land back,
Yes.
personally.
That's what I would like to see.
So we need a motion or just put Troy?
Start looking into it.
Okay.
Is there a mechanism in the RLF or through Maumee Valley that you
Well,
have to do, or?
That's where I need to look at all the paperwork and everything. I just lost the name. Somebody, Jerry's group or whoever is supposed to be keeping track of their compliance while it's in place, their job numbers and stuff like that. So obviously that's not going to be hard to get, but we need to get something from them that says, they're not in compliance or whatever. The other issue, and I'm trying to remember with them specific, they got the land and it was being forgiven. Besides the revolving loan, I think the land itself, the way we always did that is, it was forgiven 20% of it a year, basically, for over the course of 5 years, as long as they met the job application. So I guess the question is, if we forced him to not only pay what he owed on the revolving loan, but forced him to pay the going rate for the land that he got, if he were to do that, we probably would have less argument to get our land back if he actually paid for the land. Our beef on it is we gave him land, so whatever the value we put on the land that he got, if he just said, hey, I owe you X amount on my revolving loan, plus it would have cost, whatever number, $50,000 for me to buy that land, here's a check for it all, don't call me again, we probably wouldn't be able to force him to give us the land back, which he might be interested in doing, considering he's got some money in, obviously, that plan. I don't know what he wants to do with it. He wants to sell it to somebody or do whatever he wants, but at that point, his obligations to the village would be accounted for. The question is, just paying his revolving loan isn't enough because he got the land for free and he didn't live up to his end. So he would either have to give the land back with his improvements on it or pay us the value of the land since he didn't live up to his end of it, and then he would be free to do with it what he wanted to.
So what information do you want to bring back to us at the next?
I need to look at the contracts or whatever, and I'll come back with exactly what the options are and what we need to do to.
Cheryl, would you scan him all the papers?
Yeah. I think I have
In my
copies
office
too.
right now.
Okay.
Okay. So,
All right.
yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. And then I would like to thank Cheryl for her service. I believe this is Clerk of the Week for...
It is.
I think it is. Yeah. It's Clerk's Week. Yeah, National Clerk's Week.
She's our nurse, yeah.
It is Nurses Week too. Thank you to nurses. Thank you to clerk. We appreciate your service. And Troy, you have my sympathy and the
thank you.
entire council's
Thank
sympathy
you.
on the passing of your dad.
Thank you.
It's been a rough time for you,
Yep.
I know lately.
Yep.
It's never an easy time to go through. And I would like to encourage everybody to get out and vote.
And don't forget Mother's Day.
And don't forget to treat your mother really well on Mother's Day.
Mayor, I've got a question for Cheryl yet. Did we pay the whole amount to the Humane Society? I wasn't here at that meeting.
No.
But this letter, says allocating funds, but I was just curious because I wasn't at that meeting.
Yeah, it's just what was voted on. It wasn't what they asked for.
Okay.
There you have.
Thank you, Sheila, for reminding me this weekend, Mother's Day weekend, is Hicksville Beautification Committee's annual plant sale. And the support that all of you give us helps take care of over 20 flower beds around town. And you notice that all those hanging baskets and everything in our downtown is very beautiful. And we have got some very hardworking volunteers that dedicate some time on all those flower beds and hanging baskets and always trying to come up with new ideas. And I guess I can also thank everybody that has supported us with helping us raise money for the gator and the water wagon and stuff that we use. We're always looking for more volunteers. We always tell you you can do as little or as much as you want on those flower beds because we have quite a variety of things to do. But please go out and support the annual plant sale. It's Friday, May 10th, and it's out at the Trustees Building across from the high school. On Friday, it's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Saturday, May 11th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it is a great place to go get your Mother's Day gift, too. Sheila, did I cover everything?
You did.
Yep.
You did good.
Thank you for all your support, and we'd appreciate you. Come on out.
I'm missing two bills lists. They both have, one's purple, one's blue. Before you leave.
One sheet came back,
And here, the Personnel Committee has the updated manual.
I've seen that.
That has been painstakingly gone through. You'll notice all the changes because they're in red or they're crossed out. And the green is what I have a question about, if you have anything that's highlighted in green. Kent has been over the whole thing too, and we've put all of our things together. So the three of you, please look at them so that next time we can take it to council and get it. A lot of changes.
Over and then maybe we can meet.
There it is.
Is there anybody else that has any questions?
My question is, a second.
I was going to say something real quick. Summer's here, you see a lot of people running, walking, the kids are out riding bikes, which is awesome. But watch your speeds, watch for pedestrians and these people doing different things, going through your community. And I know the police have been active in trying to keep the speeds down in town. And school's about out, so more people are going doing different activities in town, but.
I saw you out jogging the other evening.
That wasn't me.
It's on Facebook.
Not true.
on there. Who did? Who did? What names?
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second to adjourn, and you can choose which one. You can choose who beat who. Roll call, please.
Baker?
Yes.
Barth?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Ridgway?
See, but we didn't have to vote to go out.
That's out of.
Executive.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Like,